Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Muscatine Today show. I am excited that you are all here with us. We are out in front of Muscatine Hy-Vee, where all the action happens. There are people coming in and out behind us, but there are a lot of great deals inside of Hy-Vee, so it makes sense that there's a lot of action going on. I want to start off the show by saying thank you to all of our great sponsors, including Hy-Vee Muscatine. They let us take over the store. Today we're taking over their patio furniture here. It's such a beautiful day. We decided we were going to come outside again and just enjoy every single bit of the day that we possibly could. So we took over their beautiful patio furniture that they have for sale out here, and we're just going to continue to do that until the weather turns on us. But it's nice to be outside and enjoy the sunshine while we can. Our other sponsors include R7 Reclaim, just up the hill in the little town of Grandview, Iowa. Such a cool place to visit. I hope you guys have all been there by now. I tell you about it every single day, but they are open every weekend, and it's a very cool place to go and visit and rummage through the barn and find lots of cool treasures to add to your collections and to that decor around the house. Impact Life Blood Center, which happens to be right next door to us here at Hy-Vee. Go and save a few lives. Make a blood donation. They are in great need of blood donations right now. In the summertime is always the hardest for them to get those donors in the door. Everybody's so busy in the summertime. So if you have a minute, go in and make that donation and save lives. Lutheran Living, our friends at Lutheran Living, always doing fun stuff out there. CBI, Toyota of Muscatine, right across the way. Impact Athletic Performance. I went there last night and Scott did me in. We did lots of squatting and my arms are sore, but it feels good. It feels good to be sore, right? I mean, that's the whole point. I'm working those muscles. Suntan City Muscatine, you can see in the scroll, they have a ton of great deals for you guys. Real Estate Resource Associates, our newest sponsor. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Of course, Unity Point Health, Trinity Muscatine, also sponsoring the show, and they will be actually joining us on the show this week. So excited for them to be on the show as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Today's guest is Ben Melendez, and he's joining us. He drove a long way just to be on the show. It was a very long trip just to be on the Muscatine Today show, right? I mean, it was hundreds of miles. Just to sit here with me this morning. That was the only reason, right?
The only reason? None other reason? No, no other reason.
No other reason. No, so tell me, so Mike reached out and said, listen, Ben is coming to town and you are going to want to sit down and hear about his story. He has a great history with Muscatine, and I think people are going to want to hear about it. And he told me a little bit about your history, but I agree. I think it's a very cool, a very significant story that people are going to want to hear about. So I don't know. It's like, do we start from where you are now and then go backwards? Is that where we start? Let's do that.
Okay. I'm a high school teacher.
Yep.
I teach freshman to senior. I teach the arts, audio, video, technology, and communication. And basically, that's pretty much what you're doing here today. So I teach students how to become radio DJs. I teach them how to be directors, producers, editors, you name it, news anchors. Mm-hmm. So I get them very involved in the TV. We do animation, and we also cover film. In fact, I've got some students that are doing independent film production and own their own production companies and stuff like that.
Very cool.
So they've had pretty good success. But I feel it all started here, pretty much in Muscatine. I believe the work ethic that I've put into the job that I feel has helped me has come from my roots. Mm-hmm. You know, we were migrant family. We would travel from Laredo, Texas to Nebraska to Muscatine, and then back to Laredo. So what it did, it allowed me to become very adaptable. You had to learn to be adaptable because you were constantly changing geographical areas, meeting different types of people. So it allowed you to grow and expand. I've always been very thankful for my roots because I believe that is something that has given me the ability to succeed in life. In 1977, we ended up staying here, so I went through the Muscatine High School educational system, which I am very proud of. I feel that they prepared me very well to succeed in life. I tell everybody, I feel I'm very well prepared because my foundation was very solid. And that foundation allowed me to grow strong roots, which allowed me to become who I am today. And one of the individuals that I'm very grateful for is Mr. Michael Ruby, because he took me along and kind of helped guide me through and set that foundation along with the other teachers, not just him, but I always go back to him because a lot of the things I use in life are things that I learned from him. But we were a migrant family. We'd go out on the fields. When we were here in Muscatine, basically it was being out in the cornfields, cleaning them out, detasseling corn, bean fields, cleaning them out. We worked with Mr. James Van Camp, may he rest in peace. He was great. I loved him to death. He treated us like family. So he was phenomenal. And he always had a smile on his face. We'd make a mistake, he'd laugh about it, and as long as you learned, he was good with it. And that's the attitude I take with my students. I tell them, don't be afraid to make a mistake. It's okay. As long as you learn from it, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's something that's going to allow you to grow. If you repeat the mistake, then that's a different story. But it's a work in progress. So we'd go out, in the mornings when we're cleaning out the bean fields. You'd walk in from sunrise to sunset, and sometimes morning dew, you'd go in and, you'd walk out at the other end totally soaked, and as the day went along, you'd dry it up. And then you'd go till pretty much the sun went down. It gave that strong work ethic. And, I tell everybody, I'm not afraid of work. Because I've done it pretty much all. Hard work is something that has never bothered me. So as a teacher, you put in the extra hours, work with your students and so on and so forth. It is because of that foundation that you're not afraid to put in the time. It's okay. And it teaches you appreciation for what you have and what you've done in life. But I remember, driving down the tractors, take them to the Heinz Corporation. When we arrived, I took my wife and I kind of went around and I said, that's where the conveyor belt was. Tomatoes would drop and they would go through and they would go into the, and I'm like, where is it? It's no longer here.
What happened? They don't do things quite like they used to anymore. Heinz is a little bigger than it used to be too, I think. Now if I go somewhere and they don't have Heinz ketchup, I am very disappointed. No matter where I am in the world.
But that's what we would do. Sometimes you'd get there and you'd stay 3-4 hours waiting in line as everything went, So it also taught you a little patience. Because there's not much you could do about it.
You didn't have your cell phone to pull out and start playing game or start scrolling on TikTok or something.
There was no such thing.
You just sat there and
there were no video games, mobile video games. So you just sat there. Either you grabbed a book and read, or you sat there and listened to music if you had a boom box. I mean, there was not, shall I say, much entertainment.
Right. You entertained yourself.
Bingo. So it kept you busy. But those are the things that we did. Obviously, detasseling corn, you would get paid by the acre. Cleaning bean fields, corn fields, same thing. Picking tomatoes, it was per bushel basket. If I remember correctly, the last time we did it, I want to say they were paying like 45 cents a bushel basket.
Wow.
And I remember as low as, I want to say 25 cents a bushel basket.
Wow.
So the more baskets you pick, the more money you
Like
make.
you wanted to work hard.
Bingo. So it allowed you to have that goal, that drive, and that, how can I say it, that passion to want to move forward.
Right.
And that's, again, that's where I feel that those roots came in very handy, because I am very progressive thinking. I am very forward thinking.
Yep.
I like to think ahead.
Yep.
And I'm always telling my students, I tell them, always have a backup, and if possible, a backup to the backup, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what can go wrong. And guess what? You still have to produce.
Yep.
And that's the
we
way
were talking
it is.
about that just before the show, right?
Exactly.
You never know what's going to happen.
So if you plan ahead, then you don't have a problem. You're always going to be ready for that, shall I say, next show?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And that's the way it is.
Yep.
And so I incorporate all of those, shall I say, lectures into the classroom. I incorporate all that learning into the classroom and that creativity, because really it allows you to go back, analyze, and figure out, okay, how can I fix this problem? And I always applied it, and I always worked it in. But it all goes back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yep.
Simply because, again, it made me who I am.
Right.
And it's a combination. I love Muscatine. I always have. I left because of opportunities.
Sure.
And but I've always loved. I've always talked about it, and my children could probably tell you how many stories I've talked about from being here.
Yeah.
Because it is something that allowed me to become who I am.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do, and I'm not afraid to tell those stories.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid, because I feel if it helps a student get ahead, if it helps anybody get ahead, then I'm going to go ahead and go there.
Yep.
And I will go there, because as long as it aids or helps somebody, then by all means,
Yeah.
I'm a heavy
absolutely.
believer that you don't reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
Use it to your advantage.
Yep.
So if I'm telling you how the wheel's being invented, then take it to your advantage and kick it to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And basically that's the way I go about things with students and in life.
Yeah, so all the hard work and those first experiences working here in Muscatine has kind of instilled those values from your beginning, from
Exactly.
when you were young and working in the fields here in Muscatine.
Yes.
And now you use those still today.
Yes. And
So cool.
it's a tough life. It's not an easy life.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, you're in Laredo, you're getting ready to go to Nebraska or Colorado, wherever it is you go, because at one point it was Colorado, Iowa, and then it became Nebraska, Iowa. So you pack up your belongings and, load up the pickup truck, station wagon, whatever the case was at the time, and then you go to the next city and
So,
set up shop over there. And
do you have like a home that you guys rent, or how, what's the living situation like, if you don't mind me asking?
well, the living situation, we were in Laredo, we would rent.
Yep.
Usually when you'd go to work on the fields,
Right.
farms, sometimes farmers would provide you
Gotcha. That's what I was
homes.
kind of wondering.
Yeah.
Sure.
And basically you'd stay there, obviously rent free, and you'd work out on the fields, whatever they needed done.
Yep.
That's what you would do, and that would happen in Nebraska, that would happen here in Iowa. The Van Camp farm had another separate, shall I say, farm where basically it was all homes for all the migrant workers
Yep.
and so on and so forth. They had one big house. Whoever was overseeing the camp got to stay at the big house, and so on and so forth. So we went through that,
Yeah.
and then we'd go back to Laredo, and again you'd start renting again.
Yeah.
And we'd wait till the next, say, April, and then take off again.
So
get
the
back
whole
around
family
October.
generally comes with?
Yes.
Yep.
The whole family, everybody gets together and load it up. Sometimes as we got bigger, instead of one vehicle, it was two vehicles.
Yeah.
because one vehicle wasn't big enough, obviously, so we'd go 2 vehicles.
Can't strap the kids to the top or anything. They don't, yeah.
And basically, you know, your daycare was pretty much family members, as they were rotating, would go see the younger in the car, because they make like a little tent so that you could sleep, you know, avoid the sun, the heat. And, you know, everybody would keep an eye and watch, rotate as they were moving around, you know, watching the younger ones. You know, you'd be out there. I remember being out on the field since I was about 6 years old.
Wow.
And, you know, and as you got older, you started working and so on and so forth. A lot of that would, you know, the parents would collect the money and yada, yada, yada. We'd come, you know, one of the things that I remember very vividly was coming to Muscatine to the warehouse market, and my dad saying, okay, well, what do you guys want? Get what you want, because it's got to last for, you know, the week, the month, whatever the case may be. And we would, you know, you know, I'd always go for those soups and you know, Vienna sausages and stuff like that. Or if I got hungry, I'd just pop a can open and eat it and let's go.
Let's go. It's time to go back.
My mom would be the one who would get up at the earliest time, because she would prepare the lunch meals and stuff like that. And she was the first one up, the last one to bed, because, you know, she'd be preparing for the next day.
Moms.
Yeah, it was a tough life. But again, you know.
But look at you now. It's awesome.
To me, it allowed success. It allowed for success. Now, granted, you know, I've always been a believer, and I always tell my students, I go, every action you take in life has a consequence, whether it's a positive consequence or a negative consequence. And yeah, you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself, because it's like, this is a tough life, I don't want to be here, yada, yada, yada. Or, you know, you could take it on the positive side and, hey, this is teaching me how to survive in life. And that's a very key element in this. Again, I'm always telling my students, the choices you make in life will direct you where you're going to go. You know, and if you make a mistake, it's okay. Fix it. And move forward. You know, pick yourself up, brush yourself off, turn around. If you have to, keep yourself on the tail end. And just keep moving forward. That's the key. You just keep moving forward. So.
Very cool. It is cool to experience that life. And I mean, even when I worked, you know, summers, like working in the market, you know, and picking strawberries and stuff like that. I mean, it is a totally different, I don't know, it's like a totally different community almost, like I don't know how to explain it. It is hard to explain, but it's like this like pack you become a part of, and you work hard and you work your butt off, but everybody supports each other, and you really do have a good time somehow. Like, you know, everybody jokes with each other and makes the best of it.
It is what it is, and that's the one thing we had. I was the baby of the family. I had 3 older brothers, technically 4, but one passed away before I was born. And then a sister. And pretty much I was the clown of the family. I was the one that was either always singing, always dancing, always cutting a joke. To date, my children usually, when I start cutting jokes, say, oh gosh, here he goes again.
Geez, here he goes.
But you know, life is what you make it. You know, if you want something positive in life, then put something positive in there. Okay, so maybe the jokes may be a little dumb, but if it gets a cackle out of somebody, why not? And I would mess around with my grandparents, especially my grandmother, you know, and I mess around with everybody. That was me. I always believed you gotta make the best out of life as possible. And so I've always been very positive, a PMA, positive mental attitude. And again, I attribute that to the work out on the fields, because you can't get down on yourself. I mean,
it makes the work even harder. You know?
It does. And you know, and again, you're human. Yes, even I sometimes get down on myself, but again, I pick myself up, brush myself off, turn around, keep pushing forward, because it's human nature. You know, you can't be positive 100% of the time. Sometimes you're going to be down, but
Yep.
you know, just pick yourself up.
Yep.
Pick yourself up. Don't
Yep.
let yourself stay there. Don't let yourself, you know, get into that negative state where
Right.
it just totally.
It's about the pickup.
Bingo.
You know, it's about the pickup and
Bingo.
and the brush off and
Yes.
moving along.
So all of that, and then combined with the educational system, it allowed me to find success in life. I've never been afraid of a challenge. I've never been afraid of taking that next step,
Yep.
even when the odds are against me.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to do it. You know, what's the worst that's going to happen? I
Yep.
get a no. That came from Mr. Ruby.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get a no? Big deal.
Yep.
You know, and I tell the students, nobody's died from a no.
Yep. Yep.
So you keep going, you keep moving forward. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it. But you get yourself always, you got a plan, work your plan, keep it going, move it forward,
Yeah.
keep it rolling. Don't stagnate
Yeah.
if at all possible.
Very cool.
So be very progressive thinking, very forward thinking.
Yep. Very cool story, and to think that some of that positive thinking, some of that came, you know, right here in Muscatine.
Yes.
You know, it is very cool, and I'm so happy for all your successes, and
Thank you.
I'm glad that you came back to visit.
Thank
And
you.
I'm a big fan of Mike too. So Mr. Ruby is got a few fans around here, I think.
He's
So,
phenomenal. You know,
Yep.
I tell my students in class all the time, if I was a tenth of what he was, and a lot of the way that I teach, I'm not gonna lie, I tried to mimic him.
Yeah.
And I tell them, if I were a tenth of what he was, then you'd be 100 times better.
Yeah.
I go, but you know, I try my best.
Yep.
And I try to model myself after him because he was a phenomenal teacher. And that's why I'm still in contact, because
Yep.
I'm very grateful for what he did and how he helped me along the way.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yep.
It's finding that one individual that can help kind of
Yep.
start guiding you through. At
Yep.
one point, I thought about dropping out of school.
Yeah.
In fact, my first semester of sophomore year, I really didn't go to school. I didn't come back till the second semester. And that was a credit to another teacher that was Dave Dieters, who was teaching GED at MCC at the time. That was back in '77. And he's the one that got me to go back. And then when I got to Muscatine High School, that's where I met Mike. And well, everything. It just
he kind
took
of
off.
took you under his wing and
Yeah.
was like, "Come on, we're gonna do this."
Yes. So that's the beauty of it.
Yep.
So
That's awesome.
anybody that's attending high school here in Muscatine, trust the system.
Yep.
It's worked for me
Yep.
beautifully.
Yep.
I cannot complain.
Yeah.
And I'm always talking up the educational system here in Muscatine because
That's awesome.
honestly, it allowed me to be who I am. And I'm always telling my students, I go, you know, the institution doesn't make you, you make the institution. The piece of paper doesn't make you, you make the piece of paper.
Yeah.
You make them look good
Yeah.
by, in a sense, representing them.
Yep.
And if they did a great job at guiding you through, which I feel I had a remarkable education here, then it'll only make it that much better.
Right. Yep.
So,
Yeah. Well, we are lucky to have a good education system, and sometimes when you're young, you don't see
don't
that.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you don't see that. You don't appreciate it, but it is true. I'm so glad that you came. You drove all of those miles just to sit here with me this morning. I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your trip, and I'm glad that Mike connected us, and that you were able to share your story on the show this morning. And I'm glad that you continue to share your story around. It is important that we all appreciate the hard work that we put in,
Yes.
and appreciate where it's gotten us. So thank you for being on this morning.
Thank you very much.
I really do appreciate it. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back to talk a little bit about the things coming up in Muscatine this week for you to all enjoy.
If you're looking for a unique place to shop small this holiday season, join us at R7 Barn to shop vintage, new, gifts, and everything charming this holiday season. From greeneries for your home to gifts, you will find something for every style and every need here in Grandview, Iowa. If you want a sneak peek of all you can find here at R7 Barn, follow us on Facebook or Instagram. The magic of Christmas can be felt in the barn, so make the R7 road trip part of your weekend plans.